Okay, put it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 155th episode of DevKami, and I am Chiliang.
And I am Tristan,
Yeah, and
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 we are
yeah,
missing swimming.
we don't have Simi.
Yeah, not today.
So
Even if he was looking forward for the watch thing, because
yeah,
if you remember, we backed a Kickstarter for the Bengal JS
yeah,
version 2. I just got mine, so we're showing it today. But yeah, he's sick, so too bad
yeah.
he's not
So,
going to see
take
it.
care of your health as well, guys. So what's going on is that beside Tech Up this weekend, check them out.
Mm,
Um, we have reserved. What? This is a new. It's gonna be a new month already.
yeah. Well, I
It
don't know.
was like
I
just
kept
two.
apparently.
It was like just 2 weeks
Yeah,
ago, and
I know, right?
we have the Ruby.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
apparently,
time
so
for
you have to look forward to the Ruby Tuesday next, well, this
really
December. Apparently, we're getting some sponsorships, some like
nice,
Grab vouchers or something. So
nice.
we'll see. We're getting a bit of sponsorship again. Before, well, I don't know, like at least the meetups from before, there are like a lot of sponsorships with regard to venue, for example, or pizza, or like just shout outs. It hasn't been happening lately because everyone is just doing things online and they think that
Yep.
there are no expenses, but yeah, of course, but there's still then you need to still provide incentives for
Yep.
people to arrive to join, not just for the talks, but also like just to get their attention, because there are a lot of other um places, like other uh what presentations that are vying for your attention. So it will be nice if we get back to the old days where we can get some venue, some pizza, and some
Yeah.
talks and some
Some and
uh
get to be
socialization.
busybody with other
Yeah.
people's office. Get to visit.
Mm-hmm.
So get to know like how the other company works.
Mm-hmm. Like do some investigation
Yeah. And
into their
the
company.
industrial
Yeah.
gossip as well.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
lots of
yeah,
things. So hopefully next year, 2022 might be
yeah.
the year when we
Hopefully
restart
can
all of
yeah.
these things.
I'm starting to get bored like, and also
Mm-hmm.
like it's harder to engage with people
Mm-hmm.
and online, and also sort of um sometimes the meetup space is the what we call the third place where people are safe to talk about things, their
Yeah.
work or what's going on.
Yeah, because what's
So
happening is most of the things happening right now are like passive consumption, and people are not really actively participating.
yeah,
They're passively consuming, and yeah. Well, I mean, it was a good rest, but I think it's time to
yeah.
actually get things
I think yeah,
moving
I think
again.
we have enough rest for 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep, Nicholas, hope to see you again. So let's meanwhile endure a bit more and take care of yourself so we can do it again next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and let's proceed to the first corner. It seems like November is the month for incidents.
Mm-hmm.
So um, it- I'm gonna share the links out this here. There are some stories about what happened. So I'm not gonna really go through them. I'm gonna share the link if you're interested. Check them out. So this is what happened to the UK coronavirus dashboard. How um, what kind of things happen if you're interested. I actually like incident reports because I get to learn like the some of the edge cases or some of the thing
Mm-hmm.
pitfall of using certain tools or
Yep.
even on in terms of design.
Especially if they're well written, like there's actually like the investigation process, and there it's crafted into a story, like
Yeah,
there's a cause and effect, so you can actually learn something from it. So those are the incident reports that I really like.
yeah,
There is some sort of an art to an like to an incident
Mm,
report. It's not just like putting all evidence there. It
yeah.
needs to
If you
flow, even though it does
yeah,
not necessarily have the chronological order, but there needs to be a flow.
yep. It's an art. If I want to just do a report by point form, I'm not gonna read it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And more incidents. So this is another one from Honeycomb. Also interesting. You can see like they share like what sort of issue that they encounter for the tools that you use and what sort of method they use to check this out.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna share this. I'm not gonna go through some of these incidents. Also, what happened is Grab also has the downtime. I'm actually hoping to see their incident report because Grab they they publish their incident reports as well. So I'm gonna wait for it, like what sort of things that happened to them.
Is it still happening today? Because
I
I
have
saw
no
some Grab
idea.
drivers
Yeah, I
outside.
have no idea because I've been, I'm not really using it.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah,
But it's interesting that yeah, in this space, Grab is front of mind when it comes to online food delivery. You
yeah,
would think it's Food Panda, but apparently it's Grab that
yeah,
has the mind share. So and that which
yeah.
is why I mean Grab is just one of them. There's a lot of other. I'm sure there's a lot of others.
It's
There's Store
it
Hub as well.
became
I think Beep.
I have no idea, but it became
Yeah.
sort of like synonymous with online food ordering. They just grab
Mm-hmm.
it. So
Yeah.
that catchy part is the one that got it mind share, like you
Mm-hmm.
say. Like just
But
Google it, like even though you're using Bing.
mm-hmm. But yeah, so there are a lot of these food deliveries, but this became a huge thing because Grab is like front of mind, like it's top of mind, and because if there were like equal distribution of mind share, then it's just one other service, right? That's down. Like
Yeah,
it's just another website that's down. Let's say, and it's not that. I mean, it's not even a critical part of the infrastructure. You can already go out in those things,
yeah.
but because a lot of people are using Grab, and it's like when Google is down, even though there's Bing,
Yeah.
there's DuckDuckGo, there's other
It
search engines. People say I can't search
it
anymore.
became the default for a lot of people,
Hmm.
and especially when you rely on the service to work, then it sort of disrupted the workflow
Hmm.
of it's sort of disrupted some people's habits. But I'm interested to see their report, and I would not say it's I like um because it's a because Grab is significant higher traffic than things that we use. So I would say that the issue that they face uh might be something that is not going we're gonna have in smaller scale, I think.
Hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see what sort of things that breaks for them when they try to scale or something like that, or it's just because
Hmm.
of something else. Okay, going next is that the Malaysian National Bank (BNM) is really silly. They're gonna they're gonna stop supporting Google Chrome for their Fast, which is
What
their
is it not supporting? Where so
not
that means they
supporting.
you can still access Chrome, but if there are bugs, then good luck. Or are they
Let's let's
preventing
try it. I
Chrome?
actually haven't really uh tried to do it, but this is Firefox. Seems to just work.
Well, I guess there's is there an ActiveX thing, which is why
I
they're
have no idea.
requiring
It's not
Return to
something I
Edge?
use. Probably
Mm,
it is the I think the cause is because it might have to rely on ActiveX because they say it cannot need be accessed via Internet Explorer and Microsoft Edge, even though Edge is based on Chromium, but Edge
yeah,
has really has a IE mode which
yeah,
allows ActiveX to run.
and apparently you need to enable IE mode, like the legacy mode,
Yeah,
on a new Microsoft Edge in order to access this. So Yeah, if I have to guess, it's like there's probably an ActiveX
Yeah.
component that is
It's not really
still
a good
running.
security move, I would say. But I understand that this problem does not happen just in Malaysia. From what I understand is the Korean banking sector also uh, built quite a significant number of technology based on ActiveX.
Mm-hmm.
So moving forward is that um, also Microsoft just released an emergency update to their Windows Server authentication issue. So if you're interested, check it out.
Is
So
this a active server or like directory,
uh,
Active Directory,
I have no
or
idea.
something
I
different?
I
Okay.
actually didn't. It's something I saw just now. It
Yeah.
somehow skipped my radar when
Mm.
I went over the first corner. It's just something.
It's
So I have
been
to catch
because
up.
it's been 20 years since I last logged into an Active Directory, like the Windows NT logon screen. It's been a long time, so I don't really know what
I
server
actually still
authentication is.
develop program to integrate with Active Directory. But these days, I normally advise the client to use ADFS.
Mm-hmm.
ADFS is the underneath is AD, which is AD directory, Active Directory. FS is a federated service, aka is the OAuth on top of AD.
Mm-hmm.
So the good thing about OAuth is that it's the mechanism doesn't require us to connect directly to the system.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like we ask the system to grant us I mean to validate the identity and also to grant us access to the extra information about this identity. So in a
Mm-hmm.
way, it's a best of both worlds for us. It's like the it I mean, for us also, we don't have to worry about security of like have to worry about when we connect to AD, what sort of things we need to limit. Like also need to make sure that the client that didn't give us extra access that we don't need, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
At least, and also it's a modern technology that we can integrate with our modern framework as well, since it's OAuth.
Got it.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
if you need JWT, it's already supported.
Mm.
Yeah, which I push them towards as much as we can.
Yeah, well, I guess if you're working with Windows systems, then might as well use these
Yeah.
things. No need to reinvent like a new authentication server just so that you're.
Yep.
I mean, if
It's
it's a
already
Windows
yep.
system anyway, it's fine.
It's built into the Windows Server already. So new quite a number of announcements from Cloudflare as well. Very
Mm-hmm.
interesting. I'm not gonna also I'm not gonna go through it. It's they they also make some of their platform full stack, and also the way how they do internal API calls. Previously we have like let's say if they have an internal calls, it gonna still end to end like via HTTP, even though it's internal, but uh, the it actually some of the optimization involved is actually they compiled it that um, it became a function call instead of having to go out and as an external call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So pretty interesting. It's not just about this. Check out some of the announcement. They are moving into I would say some of the um,
Cloud
share of
functions thing.
yeah,
They have
not
cloud functions, right? But
cloud
they're not
functions.
really a hosting. They're
They
more
are not
like.
really full cloud offering like
Mm-hmm.
some like AWS or even like Linux or DigitalOcean. It's just like they are offering pretty much on things that I think they can optimize on, especially like CDN, like serving the website, full stack serving
Mm-hmm.
website, and also the some resources.
Mm-hmm.
So check them out. I also like need to catch up on. To be honest, I also like I mean, a way lost touch of what's their offering. I have to catch up on them as well. They are moving so fast these days.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And also what happened is it's like seems like November is I think it's like all the outages has to be done before the holiday season.
Yeah.
It better be down before
Mm-hmm.
everybody went on leave before,
Yeah, if it's going
for
to
the
be
holiday.
done anyway, might as well do it when people are still preparing,
I
not when
actually
people are gone.
didn't notice. Probably I was asleep. I don't know
I didn't
when
notice
this
as
happened.
well.
Yep. So
Yeah,
some
well, and some of our projects are also hosted on Google, so maybe this is just limited to certain
regional, I
parts
think.
of. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think it's
Because
regional. Mhm.
it should have like alerted me. Well, email should have like an email alert like saying something's down, but I didn't get any in the monitoring.
We
So.
did get some weird networking issues, but we are not on Google Cloud. It's just probably something that
Mm-hmm.
depends on Google Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these days the dependency that we have are pretty crazy. It's like just like onion is a layers of layers of dependencies. Not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily on the code base wise. It might be services that relies on other services. So yeah, the supply chain is not just within a code base. It might be uh, within the infrastructure or platform that we are on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just something that came off my mind all of a sudden. That this kind of dependency is not just is beyond uh, code dependencies.
Yeah.
Yep, I think move on. Uh,
Yep. Sure.
apparently Tristan got a new toy,
Yeah.
and
Well.
unfortunately, it's something that should excite swimming, but unfortunately, swimming is not here
Yeah.
this evening.
He's not here. So. Yeah. If you remember from some of our episodes a while ago, Swimming and I backed the Kickstarter for like a watch, and it was posted like from the UK November 12, and I got it November 18. So it's not bad. It's a week of transit and
Yeah,
it's
not
just
bad.
tracked airmail. It's not even priority mail or registered mail. It's just tracked airmail. And it arrived on my mailbox, and that's it. So it's a week. Is I think it's great. So I don't know about the like how they got the logistics working that way, but it was good. So here's the box. If you can see it, yep, there you go. So there's a box, and then there are some stuff inside. So here's the Bango JS. What do you call this? It's a bit very reflective there, and then you have
Yeah,
like
it's reflective.
so yeah, like some documentation. Whoa, what's wrong with the? Anyway, it's too close to the
It's
ring
it's
light.
a surveillance safe.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, but the watch itself is here. So this is the watch, which and the reflectiveness is actually a good thing.
This
Well,
is
sorry,
very
the
good.
the
This
bright
one
light
is
is
good.
actually a good thing
Yeah.
because you'll see this watch has this actually has the LCD off, but you'll see it's very bright because it has a transflective layer. So it's great for battery life because most of the energy usage in watches or any LCD is the backlight.
Yep.
It's not actually
Even
the LCD
for
layer.
phone and laptop.
Yeah. So if you remember how LCD technology works is you have a liquid crystal display, and then um, the way it does is it blocks light. So in the calculator, right, it um, it darkens parts, and then you have a backlight to shine through it, and then you see that okay, there's a number because it's blocked. And of course, in color LCDs, then you have like a grid of RGB matrices, and then it blocks light uh, in a certain ratio, and then when it combines, then you see the full color. And so yeah, it's the backlight that drives the most energy. It's not really the changes in the liquid crystal, but because of the transflective layer here, so it's transparent but reflective. Um, you can get away without the backlight. as long as you have a light source. Of course, you can't see anything in the dark because there's nothing to reflect. But in that case, then you can turn on the light. So now there you have the backlight, and it's going to eat up energy, of course. But if you're just wearing it, and if it's daytime, then you don't need any backlights, and so the watch is very, very um, energy efficient in that case. This is different from this one. So this is the Bangle JS one. Sorry, like it. So this is the first
And it
Bangle
is bigger.
JS. Yeah, it's a lot bigger, and this is the small one. But some people like the Bangle JS one because of it's more rugged. And you can easily open it because you have like screws at at the back, whereas this one is a sealed. They're both IP. I forgot it. It's waterproof. Some people do it
60
use it for
something.
swimming, but you don't really. I mean, it's not recommended, but you can probably take it in the shower or something. But they're both Bluetooth. But yeah, so the Bango GS2 is smaller and has a faster processor as well. And of course, the LCD technology is different because this one has a transflective screen and this one is just plain LCD. Uh, what is interesting here is if you remember, have you owned a Fitbit before?
Oh,
Yeah, so one of the things on the Fitbit is that you can actually install apps, and then apps are written in JavaScript. So this is the same thing, except that it's not just apps are written in JavaScript. The firmware itself is written in JavaScript. So you see the watch, right? This is actually a watch. So let me just share my screen here. This is actually called Simple Clock. It's an app called the Simple Clock, and it will all it does is show the time. And what you would usually do is uh, you can program the watch in JavaScript. So everything on the functions here, the heart rate monitor, um, the Bluetooth, low energy beacons, etc., is programmable in JavaScript. So you can see here, for example, so this is an emulator of the watch. This is not the actual watch right now. So this
it's
is
just
good
a
for
preview of the code.
yeah of the code. So you have like the button. You can click on it. Yeah, it says not found. I'm not sure what is not found here. Uh, what is not found? Not found. Right. Not found is not found. I'm not sure what what not found is, but yeah. But the whole thing is what they call this is programmable. So you'll see exactly how the application works. Um, you can see here that if the LCD, where is the LCD thing? If the LCD is on, it will draw immediately. But if it's off, then it will time out. Like it will redraw on the like for example, it doesn't even show the seconds here, right? It it only redraws on the minute. And then if you turn on the LCD because you're actually using it at least on theory, then you just immediately redraw. So you'll see that it takes open sourcing the watch to a whole new level because you actually know what is happening here. And yeah, you have other things as well. You have games. Um, this is what we were talking about, the GPS recorder. So some people actually like this. You can run it in the background and then you just pull I don't know what the file format is. It's like some kind of GPS logging format that you can upload to a logging software, and then it plots on on a map or something. Because you get raw GPS signals or coordinates. So you probably get elevation as well, and as well as latitude, longitude on all of these things. You have this. There is so this is still quite new, but there is a project so that you can pair it this with your phone, and then you can display the notifications here. So you actually can read, you can pass messages through and to and from your phone, given an app. Right now, there's Gadget Bridge, which is like an open source application, and it has support for Bango. But there's a there's nothing preventing you from writing your own app. and just interfacing with the watch. Because again, the firmware is open source. You can write the firmware in JavaScript, and you can just like do any protocol that you want, any custom protocol if you want one, for example. You can do MQTT, since especially swimming is quite enamored with
Saying
MQTT right
broadcast,
nowadays.
so you can broadcast
Yeah.
everything to everyone around you.
So yeah, so there's a lot of things. I used to work with Esprino a lot. I haven't had the time. I just got this today, so that's why I haven't really had the time to play with it. I haven't had the time to write something here. So because it's different, and one surprising thing is that JavaScript on something like a watch or an interactive device is actually a lot more natural than writing in C. So swimming is, for example, is he keeps on saying he hates JavaScript, but he hates JavaScript on the server, and which I wouldn't say I'm in the same boat as
I would
hating, but
say,
I would. Mhm.
yep, go on.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's up to the point of hating, but I can understand the feeling of having to do asynchronous programming on a server side where you're used to just imperative, like procedural, like you go from top to the bottom, and then that you just block whenever you need something, and like something like a script, like uh a flow, right? Like you need access, you block, and then you continue on, and then the way you scale is you just add more processes, and they're all independent of each other. Whereas if you write something in Node.js as a backend, for example, then you all have all of this async awaits, or um, deeply nested function, like function calls, or you can have like promises and with then and catch and all of these things. So it becomes very tedious to. Like, there's a lot of programmer overhead in terms of that, at least in my experience. But in something like a watch or an application or even the web, where everything is interactive and you don't want to block at all, then I find it's more intuitive actually. Because if,
And
for
it's just
example, you're pressing the button, yeah, you don't want to. It's an event, and you watch it, and then you pack a function call to call whenever that event is called. It's natural in that case, right?
plus it's just a binding to the underneath functionalities. I think JavaScript is it's not. Yeah, of course it
Mhm.
supports the full JavaScript, but the main thing it does is that it's a binding.
Yeah. So yeah,
So
it doesn't parse, for example, it doesn't do I squared C to the GPS, like bit banging it directly on I squared C. It actually interfaces with the NRF52840, the I squared C device there, the SDK, and calls the C stuff there that does the actual I squared C calls, or the I squared C protocol to the GPS devices. So even though we say that the firmware is written in or the apps are written in JavaScript, things are still written in C. But unlike, for example, Arduino, where it's in C, but you also have to think about procedural programming. Make sure that you're not blocking, you're not sleeping, for example, or you're not calling out to. Um, you have to keep on reminding yourself to not exceed a certain amount of time before handing control over back to the art to the underlying subsystem, like that. Now there's a programmer overhead in that case, because you need to make sure that you're interactive. So it's the reverse from the server side, where it's a programmer overhead to keep reminding yourself that I have to do all of these asynchronous things. Yeah, so that's it for Bango GS. So yeah, you'll see that. Am I connected? No, I'm not connected right now, but I can connect to. This is the Bango GS one. I can connect to my, yeah, this one, and
I
now
just had a
I
Google
can
on what
upload things.
gadget bridge is.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, it's a bit. It's, I guess I'm. I'm far from the Bluetooth one. So this is using Web Bluetooth. I've shown Web Bluetooth a number of times before. Uh, this is just your browser. It's just a Chrome browser, and doing Web Bluetooth. But yeah, this is how you upload things. You set the time and do the firmware
How does
upgrades,
it
etc.
how does it sync to your the watch via this?
What do you mean sync? Sync what?
This is the it's look like a website, but it
Oh yeah,
seems like
so it's
you
using Web
can.
Bluetooth.
Oh, okay.
I think yeah, I've mentioned it. Like
Yeah, we
Web
mentioned
Bluetooth
before.
is yeah. So it
Uh,
it's I think I've even shown like some LEDs and some neopixels using Web Bluetooth, like
so this is how
controlling.
what web Bluetooth is used for.
Yeah, so I don't have to download any application on my computer, right? I didn't have to download a special application just for my watch, like on my phone even, to update the time on my watch. And I can do it on a Chrome web browser because only Chrome is supporting Web Bluetooth right now. But yeah, on a Chrome web browser, you have to your the application is in here, and you can control Bluetooth. You can control serial as well, uh, like web serial. That's usually used for the online Arduino programmer, for example. So you plug in your Arduino onto a USB serial port, so a USB port, and then you can go to Arduino, the online Arduino IDE, and then you can program your Arduino using web serial. So that's another thing that you can do. But in this case, it's web Bluetooth. Yep. Yeah. So that's it for now. There's not a lot because I still haven't played a lot with it. But if anyone has a question on this, then or if anyone wants me to try something on uh, on the watch, then let me know because I
Can
will
it interact with
try it.
other watches? Can you have
Well,
or it
if you have the protocol, um, because again, this is all just Bluetooth Low Energy, right?
you know,
And it can like you can
it's,
pair it if you work with Bluetooth Low Energy with the pairing. You
okay.
can yeah you can control NeoPixels here. So
It
the
depends
thing
how
about
you
this
want it to
watch,
be.
yeah. So the thing about this watch is this is special. So the old watch. So sorry, it's dirty because I never removed the plastic. So it's like some rust stuff on things. So this is just like the positive and negative charging, right? And then there's the magnetic one for orientation. But you'll see here, this one actually has pods. So you have the charging, but you also have what's called SWD. It's a program. It's for programming ARM chips. Uh, using SWT or uh,
Opening it right now.
a SWD programmer.
Serial wire
Eh,
debug.
mhm. And so ARM chips have that, and because this watch has these uh, these pads available, you can actually program it with anything that you want. Like it doesn't have to be a watch anymore. For example, you can remove, for example, the straps, and then you can have that direct, like soldering directly, like wires there, and then you can program it, and it can do something. You can control stuff like you can open it, and then you can solder wires inside, and then close it back again, and then it becomes just another microcontroller. So it's it just so happens to have a watch form factor, and so we're using it as a watch. But it has an NRF52840, which is a very powerful chip. It has GPS of a heart rate monitor, etc., and it's all programmable. Uh, and they have reverse engineered the schematics. Yeah, so things that there you can. I'll share the screen again. You can go to esprino.com. So this is the site for this, and let's see. Documentation, maybe Bengal JSU,
I would say it's not
and
reverse. Is that is it's they publish the schematics or
No, it's reverse engineered because this
okay.
is not actually, they're not a hardware manufacturer. They bought the hardware in bulk from China. So this is not the Bengal GS, but it's the same watch, right? It's the same watch, but uh, I bought, but it's the firmware is the original uh, firmware. So this is the Bengal JS. It's the exactly same watch. It's just that this one is programmed differently. It's programmed with the original Chinese firmware that was there. So it's called the watch is called SMAQ3, and so there's not actually published schematics of the watch, but the Esprino creator, yeah, they reverse engineered the schematics of how things are connected or which components are actually available and publish that. So you'll see, for example, yeah. So the stuff here, you have a accelerometer, compass, an air pressure sensor and barometer as well, and a GPS. And you can do something like, so there's the originally, like all Bangle JS1 applications work as well. And all of the other, like for example, the PuckJS and etc., you can also run that. But you just need to convert that into a Bangle JS application. You just have to wrap it so that it does, because again, the firmware is in JavaScript. If you overwrite it with something else, like let's say what is here, like a compass, then that means it's just a compass. It doesn't tell the time anymore, right? And so part of the Bangle JS framework is that you can press button combinations so that you can always go back to the watch, and you can run other applications as well. So you have a Bangle, which is why you have something called the app loader. Well, not really the app loader. The Where is that? The bootloader to load the clock menu, etc. So because again, if you don't have a bootloader, then whatever app is there is the only application that's there. So you can have something like this thing called the Bengal JS data streaming. So you can run that, and then it uses the accelerometer, and then you can control the cube in 3 dimension while you're moving your arm, for example, depending on the orientation of the arm. You can see how things are. Uh, you Some of the ideas here would be controlling your lights. If you have like, I don't know, some Wi-Fi controlled lights, like something like Sonoff, for example. Uh, Sonoff, and then what's the thing? Tasmota. Maybe, yeah, here. Which so you have Sonoff devices, and then you flash Tasmota in there, and then so basically your socket is now controlled via Wi-Fi, and then it turns on or off, and then now you can have something like a Bluetooth low energy and a Wi-Fi to Bluetooth bridge. So whenever you press something on your watch, then it turns on or off particular lights in your house, right? I mean, the watch does not have Wi-Fi. It has a Bluetooth low energy. And so usually the Bluetooth low energy Wi-Fi bridge would be a Raspberry Pi because it has both Bluetooth low energy and Wi-Fi. So you can communicate through Bluetooth low energy through the Raspberry Pi, transforms that into Wi-Fi signals into your Tasmota device, and that's it. So there are a lot of things that you can do, and lots of projects. Let me know which ones are interesting, and I will try them out. Uh, if you are interested in buying one, I think it's not yet available for actual purchase because of the chip shortages. So the Kickstarter is still being sent out, but I think next year they will be available again. I think Bengal JS1 is still available. So it's not that, I mean, the watch is not bad. It's just bulky for me, but some people prefer it, and some people prefer 3 buttons than one. So this is very rugged. Right? So it's quite nice. Yep, that's it for the Bengal JS. Do you have something for us?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about ethics.
Hmm. Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's always the stuff that I like to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And and supposedly on along the line of penalty of evil. Are you
Mm.
familiar with this?
No, I'm not familiar with the banality of evil. It's just
It is
like,
like uh, it's like you know like just it's actually from the Nazi trial
mm-hmm.
where they I forgot the name of the person. It's basically people that you can commit evil by just following orders. So
Oh, is
like
this the that research project where they shock the person just because the person says like do it, or in the person of authority, and even if the one is
no,
like screaming and shouting and those things?
I think it's another. I think it's along the line of that. Yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
because you are just following the orders. Someone tell
Mm-hmm.
you to do it, so I'll just do it. So like along the line of it's my job. So especially in our line of work is that we might be some of us might be developing the I mean they are request to develop system that are going to be harmful for certain people, or like let's say we're gonna build a racial profiling system, something like that. Is that
Mm-hmm.
what our what's our line? What's when should we know that it's we should stop or we should raise this up as a issue to other our colleagues or our clients, not necessarily clients, at least to our colleagues, because we have I think as software is being used everywhere is that we have the more responsibility in terms of what we can do and the kind of reach that our software can go, especially in
I
terms of
see.
this. Did,
So
did
there's
you and
I
yeah,
yeah, I'd like to share this screen, and I'll put the link here as well. I think this one, discussed this before, I think,
yeah,
where Uncle Bob mentions this as well. Like, it's time that we programmers uh, safe that cannot hide in our tech bubbles. Like, every line of
yeah,
code represents an ethical and moral decision.
yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
regarding
It's
like
sort of
self-driving
something we
driving
talk
cars, for
about.
example. Yeah. So he talks about here like self-driving cars, for example. Like, it's not the self-driving car that killed her, that or the person. It's the people who are programming it. Like
Yeah,
why
and also
did
the
we
apathy.
release these things?
Also,
Mm-hmm.
the apathy in the development is no longer just a code. Like it's run. Oh, if it fails, then we can just let it.
Yeah.
It's fine that
Well,
is we don't handle it or
one of
crashes.
the discussion that we had is because we are like paid to write the software, right? And
Yeah,
let's say, for example, that your program manager says, we're going to implement a dark pattern where you go through all of the stages and then get the person like into the software, like into like answering all of your questions, and then show them a pay gate. Like, okay, you can only download the answers to your questions that you've typed in for the last 30 minutes by paying $50, let's say. So it's an annoying
yeah.
dark pattern, and you can't really say no because otherwise you won't get paid, right? You're
I would say
that's the reason
that
why you're
yeah, I would say the challenge is that um whether we can we can or we should decide that this is over the line, like is the dark pattern our line for
well.
no
That's
or
that
yeah,
that's the thing, right? Yeah, that's that. I'm starting with that because it can be a slippery slope from there,
yeah,
or like the line can be very blurry. Like, that's a dark
yeah,
pattern. It's still excusable, but then now
yeah.
you have all of these like facial tracking ID for a government, or you have like very like the unkillable cookie stuff, like tracking that you can get anywhere, where it's very difficult to remove tracking, or very invasive to privacy type of software that let's say on an application that keeps on uh, pinging back your location or data, or even getting SMS uh, permissions for an Android app. Like
Yeah,
it can
it's
be
hard.
very difficult to draw the line.
Yeah, the good news is that it's become harder for this platform, especially on the mobile one. Is that for these past 2 years, there both platform like Android and iOS are gradually locking down the system in a way in a bad for back for hackers that want to tinker, but
Mm-hmm.
good for end users that to know better on how to protect themselves. I'm not saying it's a perfect solution. It's just that I can see there's a reason why behind that, and I actually like some of the decision made. Yeah. But it's
The,
something that been plaguing me for this recently um is when should we say that um it's enough is enough.
but yeah, so
Yeah,
because the problem there in ethics is almost like a prisoner's dilemma, where ethics only and moral decisions, good moral decisions only really propagate if people intentionally collude to have ethics
yeah,
enforced. But there is a lot of incentive to not to go out,
yeah,
to have
definitely.
everyone else follow ethics, but you don't, because you get the profit there, right? You get
Yeah,
better profit if you are the only unethical player in a sea of ethical players. And so
yeah,
that becomes a prisoner's dilemma. So everyone that eventually goes becomes unethical, and then and everyone, like, same with the prisoner's dilemma. Everyone is worse off, basically, and everyone will be a lot better off if everyone plays ethically. But that's the problem. Everyone needs to follow, otherwise it becomes
yeah.
very difficult to enforce.
Why did I mention that? Is because if especially for software engineers with when we develop, we thought that these things are totally disconnected from the real world. Is that in our case that is sometimes we are aware that this thing might cause harm, but it's how do we educate that kind of I don't know, is or raise awareness to the other programmers that the extent of the effect of the software is might go beyond the computer. So
Mm,
that's it might be something that is over since because it's a random topic day to day. Is that it's I'm sharing what's
mm,
been in my mind lately. It's like yes, if we have this, we have the sense of that might be to be able to detect that something might be wrong. It's good. Is that what I worry is that that's why I've mentioned banality of evil. Is that some people might treat it just it's just a ticket I have to answer, or it's just an
mhm.
algorithm I have to develop. So
And it can be
yeah,
difficult to, because you're quite far removed as a programmer to the
yeah.
actual effect sometimes, right? Unless you're really like whatever you do is actually
Yeah.
reflected, but
I
it's
don't want to
actually
say like
you're.
I don't want to sound like a boomer, like but
Mhm,
there's something that I've witnessed in a lot of the juniors programmer where they treat it just like, and I think we mentioned it in some other episode, is that there's a tendency to treat a certain feature request as an assignment.
mhm.
Yeah.
You just
So
do it, and this is the effect.
that's the way I don't care,
And
like
then you,
without even to understanding the
like,
implication of
why
that.
why you're
And
actually, yeah, why is this feature there? Who's going to be impacted?
yeah.
Is there a
Or
better way
even
to do it?
or even if I want to say it might be it's not something that is intentional, but is that they downplay when a situation or a feature is downplayed. The severity is downplayed, and the way they did. I'm not saying that it's going through slippery slope that saying software mistakes are little, but it also the awareness needs to be there, I think. But my challenge is gonna be how am I gonna scale this, and also how am I gonna make sure the others understand the severity and also the responsibility that I have. I don't know.
Mm,
It might be some discussion that we use to
yeah.
fill out our time, but not
You can
reaching any conclusion. But
you can maybe start like doing what the activists have been doing. You can say every person you meet or every programmer you meet, you ask them how many people have you killed today, and
yeah, that's
get them
actually
to
a
think.
good. That's actually a very
Mm,
good question. It's 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 actually a good one
Yeah, just
because
make
it's
them
sort
think
of
like
force
what?
them to think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, or yeah, or start your talk on a meetup like this is how many people I've killed today, and then of course you're not
it's
directly
it's a
doing
boring
that, but
topic. I would say
mhm,
but I think it's a very important thing that we need to talk about beside all the fancy fun stuff that is going on in the industry. Is that this kind of boring stuff is something deep. I mean, of course there are a lot of people gonna there are some I can see there's some resistance, even like I'm reluctant to talk about it because there's without trying to be sounding like social justice warrior.
mhm,
But uh I mean, without going to the extreme, like at least we need to have the sense of that, like how serious certain thing is,
mhm.
which I think yeah. But I
Well,
think the one
I
that you suggest is is a useful one. I can actually use it to ask
yeah.
some of the juniors like how many people you keep today.
uh, Well, I guess the thing as well is that some of the decisions we make might be unconscious, like you
Yeah.
or like not really you're not really intending it. Like let's say, oh, I know there's an overflow or a bug somewhere, but I'm not going to fix it because it's not really going to happen. Like what are the probabilities this is going to trigger? We know the situation is going to trigger, etc., and then we're not going to like probably fix that. We're not going to prioritize it. I'm not even going to file it right now. I'm just going to like keep it at the back of my head and fix it later on. But then of course eventually it comes up, and then
Yeah.
a lot of people are inconvenienced or lost their payments or credit card payments or whatever because of your particular bug. And it's unintentional at that point, and it can be difficult to be vigilant, to just like keep on having the discipline to make sure that
Yeah.
okay, I have to
It's
make sure that
it's
I don't make
also
mistakes.
to find the balance between having to track too carefully that it stop us from progressing.
Hmm.
It's I think the discussion wouldn't yield any conclusion. It's just that I just want to raise up the topic that we as much as possible we is something that we have to think about it sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not something that should be a burden for us to stop us from doing anything.
Hmm.
But it's
Well,
also we need to understand the responsibility that we have.
and this is related to our one of our very first DevKami episodes
Yeah.
regarding ethics as well. Is that sorry? Let's say the engineering profession, like licensed engineers, are licensed because they have these like they are facing these things. Like if
Yeah.
you approve a building plan and it crashes, then by law, because you're a licensed engineer, you put in you are delicensed, and then you're criminally charged, right?
Mm.
Whereas it's different from software because we don't have licenses and all of like we don't have regulation. Um, you just say you present yourself as a senior developer and you approve this particular architecture, but it might
Yeah.
not be the best one, and
And the things
that is the problem.
yeah. And the things that especially for more me that is that I see that the work that at least on my part is that it's gradually is less disconnected from the real world over
Mm-hmm.
the years. that we were building are more connected and put more, it gonna affect more people.
Oh, yeah, it can. It's I guess it's the same
It's just a
abstraction
yeah
as like credit cards. Let's say instead of spending actual money, like you don't feel the gravity of spending money if you're using credit or you're just tapping to pay because they're all just numbers or something. Is you're disconnected from the actual effect, right? Whereas if you're paying money, then you see your wallet actually getting thinner. So it's the same
yeah
with what we're doing right now. We're far away removed from the effect of the customer. That
yeah
okay, we're going to do this, but it's actually having a big impact to what the customer is
yeah
doing or the user
these
is
days
feeling.
especially. Yeah, just something that I just want to raise up. It's not really something that we
Mhm.
can reach any conclusion anytime soon.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
we have people on the chat just saying wow and hi.
Wow.
I
On
guess.
the Bengal jazz.
Oh, is it on the Bangle JS? Okay, so
Yeah,
it's not
it's
on the
24.
ethics
Yeah.
topic.
No,
Okay.
not
Yeah.
this.
Okay.
It's a boring topic. It's
Yeah.
a but
Well, the,
it's I would say it's a preview of me going to be more political, not really
mhm.
on DevKami, but is in other of my contact. I'll, I realize that it's I mean being I cannot be just. I find it. I have the responsibility to speak up on certain issues. Like I think
Mhm.
gonna be
Well,
yeah. Even though
speaking
it's
of
not
like,
something that. Yep.
yeah, that as technology related anyway. Sorry,
Yeah.
even though it's not as
Technology or
technology
yep the
related.
things, the data that we see, the way how we do things.
Mhm. Well, yeah. Speaking of like the Bangle JS and ethics as well, like the Bangle JS has an open source firmware, and if like there is some work happening on a heart rate monitor and something similar to what the Apple Watch is doing, the like detecting falls or detecting abnormal like arrhythmia, let's say. And if you're on the Apple Watch, right, you have to trust that their algorithms are working. And like and it becomes an ethical discussion because if it does not catch what your uh, what your symptoms are, like are you blaming the watch because they didn't catch it even though it was
I'm not gonna
happening?
blame. For me, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna be blaming the watch. It's just that it's good, and if it detects I have the issue, it's a good indication
yeah, but
that
that's the
I should
thing. The
get it checked.
problem is because you actually don't know the algorithm. Like is it because I'm black or a darker skin color that's why it's not detecting
Oh,
the
okay, yeah.
the thing, right? So
The
because I don't know, it's opaque. Whereas
the
what's
same issue
happening
with
here,
we don't know the training sets that they have that
yeah,
might create the bias.
and that's the ethical question there. Like I don't know how you're measuring things. Is it actually like what you're claiming actually true? Whereas because you have an open source application, you know exactly how things
Yep,
are like and you can modify it depending on your own
yep, yep.
uh,
I think a lot of people
situation.
still they are still reserved on the part where free and open source means everybody can contribute, but it doesn't mean
Hmm.
that everybody has a right access to it directly, like a Wikipedia page. Like it's moderated, and unlike Wikipedia, it's often rollback if somebody
Hmm.
did. I mean, it's but software is more like governed by, especially an actively maintained one is governed by a committee where they
Hmm.
choose when to accept the new feature set, and it is
Well,
being
for the
reviewed by
general
everyone.
for the general consumption, like as the what do you call the stat? What if you say Linux kernel, then people know what the Linux kernel is.
Yeah,
It's not one of those like forks or something. Like because and the point of open source is about ownership. Like if you
yeah,
have the capabilities, it's almost like right to repair. If you have the capabilities to fix things for yourself, then you need to be able to do that because
yeah,
you have ownership of the thing.
yeah,
Whereas like again with the Apple Watch, like you don't know. Like,
yeah.
and then you'll just have all of these reports like, oh,
You just
actually
have to
because you have
trust
dark
it.
skin color, yeah, the heart rate monitor or the arrhythmia detector is less effective, and then there's actually research going on, but we haven't included it yet on the algorithms of the watch. So, but you didn't know about that, right? So here, that's the ethical consideration about these things. Yeah, so lots.
Yeah.
It's very heavy topic today. I
But
don't think
that's why I say I'm
30
gonna
minutes
have
is
a
enough for.
heavy filler.
Mm. Oh,
We
but
I think it's something that we have to talk. We have to talk about later with
yeah,
swimming is around. It's gonna be
yeah,
more fun. So if any
yeah.
one of you want to join up on this as well, just feel free to do it. It's not something that it's not something that we like to talk about, unfortunately. Also, like I don't like to talk about it as well. It's just it's
Mm.
it's something that
And
we cannot avoid.
it talking about it does not necessarily mean that we want a solution. It's more about like getting people to know that this is a thing. Because like ethics, it's not, there's no one clear cut like way. It's not like Python. There's only one way to go about it. I don't even know if it's still correct for Python 3.
No,
There's
not
only
really,
there's only
not
one way to do
anymore.
it. It's which is the best
There's
way,
a lot of ways
right?
to do it.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, there's a lot of gradients and spectrums on that, and the important thing is there is that you're aware, or people are
yeah,
aware, and so they can actually
it's something that's
decide for themselves.
from time to time that when since you mentioned John is that I've been not chatting with him for a while, but
Mhm.
it's something that we used to talk about from time to time. It's about the line of this, and also on knowing about the problem and not normalizing it as well. It's something
Mhm.
that we talk about a lot. So, yep.
All right.
Do we have anything? Or
I think it's
we're gonna we're gonna have it. We are gonna
yeah,
extend standard edition next time.
yeah. When swimming is
It's
back, or when someone else has like a good
yeah,
like if anyone has some thoughts, they can put it on
yeah,
YouTube comments, or you
yeah,
can visit us on
yeah,
Slack or Discord, Engineers My Slack
yeah,
or Discord Engineers My, or yeah, just ping us if you know us personally, and we'll see. You can get your viewpoint in as well.
yeah. So with that said, I think we should conclude. No,
Yeah.
no conclusion for you guys, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just food for thought.
So
So think
yeah,
about
we
it,
shall.
and if you have any ideas, just actually for you guys who have access to the Slack, feel free to. We often post our link to the to this room early, so feel free to join and share your thoughts. Yeah, it's for. Oh, it's actually fine. It's that we have good enough reach right now.
Mm-hmm.
And good enough reach means that it's still safe for us to talk about a lot of things without having to have to put up a lot of disclaimers. So it's it's something that the reason why we started this is that we used to after meetup we used to chat a lot. It's just that we think sometimes we can chat online and have more people to join us. It's not meant to be
Mm-hmm.
it's not meant to be for a lot of people, but gradually you guys also starting to the viewership also starting to increase, and also like I think for me I still want it to be like close and personal with you guys lah.
Mm-hmm.
That we wish we will see each others again when we can have physical meetup. So
Okay.
okay,
I
yep,
think it's
that's it.
time to say goodbye,
Yep, good
and
night.
we'll see you next week.
See you guys next week. Take care.